PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am here today with the Crypto and Cash Show. My partner over there, Mr. Brett Jenny. I'm Uncle Dan Everett, and we're here to educate you guys about the whole crypto world, what's going on, why you need to be in it, you know, what they're saying in the media, what's good, what's not. We want you to understand everything about this. And, again, there's not a lot of people that are just truly getting down to the basics of it. And that's what we're here for every couple of weeks. We want to get you the real information to two guys. My partner over there, he's certified. I'm certified with another company in crypto as well. So, hey, we're not here to teach you how to trade. Let me give you the disclosures real quick. This is strictly for education and entertainment. Nothing that we here talk about, nothing that we talk about as far as trading. We're not here to teach you how to trade. So if that's what you're here for, wrong platform. We're here to educate you what's going on in the world. So we got some big stuff, and I want to start off right off the bat talking about if you don't know what Bittrex is, it's a pretty decent sized crypto exchange. And they are now shutting down their U.S. operations and going overseas because the government wants to overregulate all the exchanges. So, and I'm going to let Crypto Brett over there and let him go ahead and give his opinion of what's going on, because it's just kind of insane. So, go, Brett, tell our audience about what's going on.
So, here's the whole thing, which is we are very much stifling innovation. And I understand a cautionary flag, especially with everything that's happened with the crypto world in the past year. But at the same point, you can't stop progress. And what the U.S. is basically doing right now is they're crunching down as much as they can and basically making it impossible or nearly impossible for any sort of exchanges to do business, or a lot of crypto, whether it's banking or to do business in the United States right now. It's not going to stop anything. It's just going to take it overseas. And that's all it's going to do. So imagine if, Henry Ford, when he wanted to start up the assembly line and get cars going, if the government came in and said, we're against technology and tried to stop it, And a lot of it is complete miseducation. I watched Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, I think it was on last Thursday or Friday, that spoke on CNBC. And she said, well, the second main concern I have is stopping all of the illicit activity happening in crypto. And I do a lot of my bantering with crypto or education, whatever it is, on Twitter, which is a lot of the crypto crowd hangs out on Twitter. And I commented on her thing. I said, it's nice that you're looking out for such a huge problem of illicit activity in the crypto world. And I showed a chart, and this is by some chain LinkedIn website, which is like the most accurate information there can be for data because it's on the blockchain. It's literally on the blockchain. It's also the number one website in the world that the governments look to for information of what's happening on blockchain. And it showed that the illicit activity in cryptocurrency this last year was 2.4%. No, I'm sorry. It was 0.94%. So it wasn't even 1%. And so I posted that. And then, you have the usual, some guy comes on there and says, although I don't like Elizabeth Warren, I find this hard to believe that it's only, and I said, Google and look it up. This is the number one website by the world for governments to consider all this information. It's literally transparent. It's literally blockchain. You can't get more accurate than this. And he goes off on how I'm wrong and I da-da-da and all these things. And at that point, I just stopped the conversation and blocked him because what's the point? It's like,
who's got time?
I'm saying 1 + 1 = 2, and they're saying, no, it's not. Well, at that point, there's no longer behoves me to, continue on the conversation in any sort of way, because that's just not common sense. But that just kind of goes to show the ignorance right now in the government. And we've, none of our politicians, you can say, really are specialists in anything, right?
Right.
But so I'm not expecting them to be. but they're shutting down any sort of ideas or any sort of progress with it. And
Brett,
they want. Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry.
I'll tell you something, because you just hit a sore spot with me. I've been in the financial services industry for many, many years. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm not big on politicians, but Elizabeth Warren just really gets under my skin when it comes to anything financial. She is just the most negative person, and she doesn't have the facts. And that drives me nuts. It's all about the politics and what sounds good. Is this going to make people like me, even though, because people are lazy, they're not going to go check the facts that you're talking about. But she gets fact checked all the time, and it just, I've been anti her for quite a long time because of that. And I just
and here's the thing, at the end of the day, if she really is about the consumer, how did you go into office as a college professor and now you're worth like 50 million?
There you go.
Explain that to me. She hasn't written any best-selling books. She hasn't. So how does that happen then? If you're not already capitalizing on the system, so just don't turn around and say you're out for the consumer best interest. It's a election point, and this is what I'm talking about. At a certain point, I understand they have a job to do, right? Part of their job is to get reelected, whatever it is, it's politics. But you can't just shut down anything to do with it, because at the end of the day, the underlying technology, blockchain, is essentially what they're going to use for their central bank digital currency.
Yep.
Which is funny because she's all about that, but then she's not about cryptocurrency. And one of her statements was something about, well, there's nothing backing Bitcoin. And the journalist said, or the interviewer said, well, what about, so it's about as worthless as that art on the wall right now. And she said, well, at least you can do something with that art on the wall. You can't even do anything with Bitcoin, which is funny because she said there's nothing behind Bitcoin. But then there's the point of Bitcoiners, which is, okay, so what's behind the American dollar? It's not gold. It's not gold. It's the petrodollar. Which leads us to kind of our next conversation, which is the reason why America's dollar is the world's reserve is because we haven't worked out where every single person in the world who buys oil, which is every single country, they need oil to run. All the oil in the world has to be bought in American dollars. That's what makes it the number one reserve currency right now. But last week, France and China just did the first trade deal for natural gas, and they did it in yen. They didn't do it in American dollars. So now, if the whole backing of the American dollar is petrodollar, now you're starting to see countries get away from that.
Brett,
so combine some of these things with, let's just push cryptocurrency and Bitcoin as far away as we can into other countries. It's not going to stop it.
Nah.
It's just going to grow in other countries.
But
and you can already see a willingness for the world to want to separate from the American dollar. I guarantee the world cannot wait to separate from the American dollar when given the chance.
Hey, Brett, what is that?
Anyways.
What is now? We're here for the people, okay? What is that going to do to us as Americans with our bank accounts and the money that we have in our?
It weakens the dollar. Period. I mean, because that's the whole thing. Like, what backs our? Honestly, if you want my honest to God opinion, which is what backs the American dollar, our military. Period. Yep. Our military. That's what backs our dollar. And if you start to have the world go away from that, and we start to lose listen. At the end of the day, America is still an idea. Whether you love us and hate us, have our criticisms, whatever it is, America is still an idea. The best idea the world has ever had. So far, as long as we keep that frame of mind with the world, we're good to go. But if that starts slipping, then it starts slipping. And you can't tell me that the rest of the world doesn't want to have to always be dependent on the United States. Of course they don't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't. It's just not as like, why would you just push away the technology like that? Yes, it needs regulation. Yes, it needs, but if you look at the lending laws and you look at banking, fractional reserve banking, which is for every dollar I give a bank, the government says you can lend out 10. What are those dollars back behind?
Wow.
The art on the wall?
Yeah, the art on the wall.
It's like point counterpoint. I could do that all day long with fiat. It's
right.
So whatever.
Yeah. I know. But you're not going to hear a lot of people in the world talking about what we're talking about in the crypto world. But in the crypto world, yes. But in the general population, when you hear the media doesn't want to talk about this kind of stuff. Hey Brett, do you remember what the dollar amount is for every dollar that's in the bank right now? How much the FDIC has in reserves? If there was a run on the banks, what was that number? You remember?
I'm not sure what that number is, but the long and short of it is, if everybody was to make a run at the same time, in that sense, if everybody was to make a run at all their banks at the same time, every bank is insolvent right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the point. So if you can't even get your monies back of what you deposited in there, because they don't even have to have that actual money in their what's it backed by? Everybody going along with the same system. It's what it's backed by.
Yeah. I'm hearing, the more I'm, just in the online world, it's becoming more apparent that, there are stories just about every day about people who walk into the bank and they want to take X amount of cash out, and the banks just don't have it. They don't
you can't walk in and be like, hey, I want to take 50 grand cash out. I don't think you can even do that.
No, you can't.
They literally don't have the money in there probably.
Even if you have 100,000 sitting in your bank account, you can't. They're not going to allow you to do that. I think one guy said
you need to go through a whole clearance to get your money out.
Your money. Oh my, that's insane, man. That's insane.
I gotta send you a video that it's like a minute long video for Bitcoin, and it just basically says, it shows all these different scenarios, like, well, why isn't my check cash? Oh, because he sent it over a bank holiday. What's a bank holiday? It's like some construction worker just trying to cash his check. And then they're like, if you overdraw, they're like, so you charge me money for not having money in my own account? Just all these different scenarios that it's just absolutely crazy on how they make money off you, and how the system is just, you've got to do this and that. You can't cash it then, and you get the money here, and all these different things. And it's, why?
That's insane. That's just insane.
The banking fees. I mean, let alone the banking fees. So what we're trying to do right now with the Realtors Association, because I'm the chair of the blockchain committee, which is we want to have it so that people have an option, that the members have an option to pay in crypto if they want. And the number we're trying to find out right now, which is, if normally right now a member of the Realtors Association goes to pay their fees, the credit card fees that are associated with that are like $300,000 or $400,000 a year. Wow. That our association pays a credit card company that they make for using a credit card company. So to use our own money we already have, some companies make it costs our association $300,000 or $400,000. Think about that, man. I mean, granted, 16,000 members, but regardless.
Well, you know what?
What we're trying to do right now, if we can get that, if literally every single person did it with a cryptocurrency payment, I mean, those $400,000 in fees would be probably $5,000.
I have some good news on that front. Let me tell you what that is.
Yeah.
I've affiliated with a company back east that has been in that industry for a long time. Well, they've got AI software now. And what the AI software will do is it will go ahead and it will identify all of the overcharges, all of the hidden fees,
Really?
all of the extra fees. I mean, this is off the chain. It really is.
Yeah.
What they do, they actually have been around for a long time. They got major accounts. I'm just affiliating myself with them. They have put it like this. You know BlackRock.
Yep.
They actually are not part, but what they do is all of the different companies that BlackRock owns, they're actually doing this for all of BlackRock's companies, and they're saving they're saving them millions of dollars.
Just that account alone.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can help at least cut those fees down quite a bit, because what they do is they'll actually negotiate after they find the stuff and say, hey, you need to knock out these fees or they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and then what we do is we have the AI every single month that's going to check those merchant statements every single month to make sure they don't start slipping those fees back in there on you. Oh, it's awesome, man. So I'll keep
that's
you
awesome. I
updated
mean,
on that.
that's one of those positive use case scenarios for AI. I mean, AI has been getting pretty ripped on lately, which I understand. You know, it can be a dangerous thing, but that's something where it's very positive, where you can just simply have the computer do the work of sifting through everything and figuring out what needs to be in lightning speed. I mean, it's benefiting society. It's benefiting humanity. So, you know, there's a million different things like that where AI comes into play and helps society. You know, it's just one of those things where you just got to be careful because.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that are not familiar with the term AI, many of you probably are not. It's artificial intelligence. And, you know, basically it's a computer that, like you said, Brett, it can do a whole lot of the work for you that, you know, that's currently, you know, I mean, it's going to affect like copywriters and a whole lot of people that are in the whole thought process of people that do websites. Oh my God. It's just so much is going to affect.
I mean, it's here's a good example of to kind of get back to the assembly line with Henry Ford, right? So look at AI as the assembly line. It just speeds up the process of what needs to get done, right?
Right.
But the car, you still need to design the car. You still need to order the parts. You still need to have a game plan of how it's all going to come together. You still need to make the design. You still need to do everything. All you're doing is bringing in a machine to essentially super speed things or to cut a lot of the details into the big picture of what needs to get done. Right. Like, think about how many things where you can just kind of not have to get caught up in the details and you can still get the same job accomplished. Think about how many things you can get done quicker on an even greater scale by that.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it, you know?
Yeah. I get it.
You know, crazy. But what else were we doing? Oh, yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about quick, too, which is the U.S. government confiscating Bitcoin. So, Dan, did you ever hear of Silk Road?
Yep, I have.
So, Silk Road was basically shut down in 2013. And it did basically a lot of – you could basically buy anything you wanted to with Bitcoin on that. So long and short of it, the government shut it down, arrested the guy who created it. He's doing life in prison. And they seized like 300 and some million dollars or 400 some million dollars. Sorry. They seized a total of, what did they sell?
Wasn't it billion?
I'm sorry. They seized 50,000 Bitcoin from this website years ago. And they finally were able to get the rest of it. So they just sold 216 million of it this past month. And they're doing it through an exchange on Coinbase. So they still have, they still have another 41,490 Bitcoin to sell the rest of this year. And they're going to do it in 4 different batches. So here's another thing too, which is if the government is so much against Bitcoin, they're confiscating and selling it. I guess they really hate Bitcoin.
Man, we know the inside deal. Come on.
Yeah.
that's wow. That's a lot of people are not familiar with that story, but again, reality is reality, and we just want to bring everything to the forefront, man. We're pro crypto, and because we've been in the space, and it's just really kind of like just really, to me, it's kind of disgusting now how they have really trying to just really curb it here in the United States, where all these other countries are just, they're really open to the technology of blockchain, and they just keep expanding and more, and this agreement, that agreement. And then you look here, man, it's like, you're going to get fined just for being in the space. What's the bank that got shut down for? The bank that got shut down because they were in crypto?
Signature.
I forget the name.
Signature, Silicon Valley Bank. That's the thing, which is those banks really weren't any different than the rest of them that just hadn't got to yet. So it was going to spread like wildfire, but the government basically stepped in, so it wasn't allowed the other ones. But at the same day, so here's kind of what happens, which is every morning the banks have to basically report of how much money they have in their deposits, and they have to have a certain amount every day. And that morning, they basically, before bank open, reported, we don't have enough money to open today.
Yeah.
And then it all started cascading.
Oh boy.
And it was, like I said before, it was basically the banks got free money from the government. Uh-huh. They took that money, invested in long-term bonds, and then the interest rates considerably rose. And so now when the interest rates rose like they did, you're stuck in long-term bonds. So now you need to sell them very quickly in order to get the cash, and that didn't happen fast enough. So these were all things that the bank president knew. He knew they were walking on fire on that, and it just took the right elements one morning, and that's what happened.
It sounds like a whole lot of people also knew, and people in the banking and the government, they kind of knew ahead of time as well. But
the CEO of the bank ended up selling like $3 million worth of stock the following week before that. So that's kind of weird, huh?
Oh,
yeah. As I said, they knew, man. They knew. It was just a matter of, we just need the right elements to happen, and the right elements didn't need to be the perfect storm.
Right. Exactly.
Not even close. So.
Right. Oh boy, I tell you, life just goes on. It gets funnier and funnier every single day. It really is. So I mean, it's crazy with the petrodollar being at risk, and you're gonna see that happen more. You've got the government that's selling all this seized Bitcoin for a government that doesn't believe in Bitcoin. And then another thing what happened today is Dogecoin, which is a cryptocurrency that's kind of like known by, people associated with Elon Musk. Yep.
And so Elon Musk this morning replaced the blue bird for Twitter with the Doge symbol. So now you're seeing Doge just skyrocket like 20-25% today, which is funny, because if you know anything about cryptocurrency, Dogecoin is a joke coin. By that I mean, the creator of Dogecoin, I think it was in 2016 or 17, literally took the computer code that's in Litecoin and copy and pasted it and put a meme at the end of it. That's it. That's Dogecoin. But it just goes to show that really all it needs is a belief system. And that belief system is, if people want to use it, that's all it really takes to have value, is people using it.
Yep.
And if people are using it because Elon Musk is using it or not using it or whatever it is, the blockchain technology behind it, which is why they need to not steer crypto away from the United States. Because whether you say that the coin means something or doesn't mean anything, whatever it is, at the end of the day, the technology behind it, blockchain, is what makes it facilitate it so quickly. and able to not need that central figure. So regardless, that's still there. You know, if that's not the case in point of why they need to keep the companies and the innovation here in America. I mean, it's just smart politics to keep innovation in your home base.
Send it to everywhere else. Let them take advantage of it. What happens to us?
In a second, you know?
My God. Well, you know what? I think we've covered quite a bit today. I've got another appointment with a business owner coming up in like 5 minutes. So, you know, this was good stuff tonight, partner. We did a pretty good job. Those of you that popped in today, I hope you guys learned a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, what's going on in the scenes, what's going on right in front of your face. So I want to welcome everybody, and I want to thank all of you that attended today and to the Crypto and Cash Show. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll have some more good content for all of you. Brett, thank you much, man. We got to talk offline. I've been too crazy.
Appreciate it, Dan. We will, man. We will.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Everybody have a great week and stay positive. Blockchain technology is here to stay. All right.
Thanks,
talk
everyone.
with you later. All right.